everyone, my name is Monique.
I'm Naveen.
And today we are going to be showing you a game that is currently on Kickstarter called FILLIT.
This game is designed by Ryo Nakamura, and it's an independent design, and it's an abstract strategy game. You can play 2 to 4 players. There can be a team play and also competitive 1v1.
Yep. It is actually part of a trio of abstract games from Japan, and they're currently on Kickstarter as it's called the Abstract Trio. So we just kind of wanted to show you how the game is played and kind of go over the 2 different versions that are currently on Kickstarter right now.
Yep.
But before we get started, if you can please turn on your Klingon subtitles just in case we make any rules mistakes. And if you enjoy content like this and would like to see more, please consider subscribing. And with that, we are going to show you the game. So if you would look over here, we have the game board. Now this is the standard edition of the game. The standard game comes with, it's kind of like a cardboard, thick kind of paper board.
Yep.
With the wooden pawns and the cardboard chits.
Yeah,
and
nice.
these like, I don't know, they're like marble-like stones.
Like Mancala gems.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
The board is double-sided, so there are 2 different modes of play, main modes. There's like the mini game, which is this, and then the opposite side is like a larger board for the longer game.
Yep.
The game also plays 2 to 4 players. 2 and 3 player games are competitive, and then 4 player games are team-based. But today, we're going to show you the 2 player game.
Makes sense.
So right now, we are set up. This is the red player versus the blue player, and each player also has their own colored stones. Now the object of the game, this game is completely abstract, and it's very simple. The object of the game is get all of your chits out onto the board.
Right.
That's it. You already start with 1 on the board underneath your pawn, so you're 1 chit there.
Yeah, so in the mini game, we start with 14. 1's on the board, 13
Yes.
off. So you got to get 13 on the board before your opponent.
Exactly. Chips scale for player count and for the length of the game,
Right.
I believe. But yeah, and this one's just 14. So what you do on your turn is you're going to do 2 things. You're going to move your pawn and 1 of your stones. That's it.
Okay.
And you can do either in either order. You can move your pawn and your stone and then your stone, or you can move your stone and then your pawn, doesn't matter. But the way that the movement works is your pawn is going to move in one direction, in any straight line. In one of the, in this example, we have 3 different directions that this pawn can move in, but typically there are 6 directions.
Right.
But basically the pawn will move all the way in a straight line until the pawn hits an obstacle. Now an obstacle is considered as the side of the board. The middle hexagon here is an obstacle, a stone of any color, or another player's pawn. If there was a chip out on the board, that is not considered an obstacle.
Right.
The pawn is going to go right straight through it. So if Naveen were red, you want to go ahead and take a movement?
Sure. Okay, so let's say I go from here, and I'm going to go all the way here. This is my end because of the obstacle end of the board. What I'm going to do is, for every hex that I crossed, including the one I landed on, I'm going to be able to place out my chits.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the first part of my turn. Second part is I must move a stone. So I'm going to go ahead and move my stone right there.
So the way that stone movement works is stones are going to be only moved into one space,
Correct.
one of the adjacent neighboring spaces. Now, in this example, in a future turn, if Naveen were to move this stone again, if the space that the stone is going to move into is currently occupied, like in this example, we have a pawn with a chip in this space, then this stone is going to switch places with everything that's in that space.
Right.
And that holds true whether it's another stone or just a regular chip, then they would switch places.
Right.
So that is how stone movement works. There is a possibility that you are unable to move your pawn because maybe it's blocked off. In that case, then you wouldn't move your pawn. But you are never allowed to move your stones in a fashion that would completely block out a pawn.
Correct.
So, you moved your stone?
I did. Yep.
Then it would be my turn. Okay, so maybe on my turn, I want to pretty much do the same thing. I'm going to move this pawn all the way over here, and now I've got some pieces, some chips out on the board. And then I'm going to move my stone, and then maybe I might move this stone, so that now it blocks red's path, and red cannot move that way.
Right.
So my turn would be over, and it would go back to
to
Naveen.
me. So I'll go from here all the way here, putting out 2 more chits. And now let's go ahead and move stones. So let's move the stone right over there.
So this is kind of the basic idea of how movement works.
Right.
So let's say like in a future turn, or maybe in this turn, say I were to move this out of the way and maybe move all the way down this way, put my chits out
Right.
here, then Naveen has an option what would you want to do in this situation?
Well, I would probably go this way, go 1, 2, and then land on hers.
Yes, and so this is the first time we've encountered it, and kind of what I wanted to show you is as soon as you land over your opposing player's chip, you'll actually replace it with your own.
Yeah.
So a little bit of like an Othello mechanism here. But the main point is you want to poop out as many of these chips as you can until one person has put out all of their chips. And the second that you put out your last chip, you win. That is the entire game of FILLIT. There's a lot of really good concepts here.
Yeah.
Or there's only a few, actually. This is a very, very simple game, but it's a lot of good strategy. Really, really interesting concepts.
Yeah, this game is, it feels like a very like old-time classic game.
Yeah, like one of those like abstracts that have stood the test of time.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
So that is pretty much the game. We also wanted to show you, in case you're interested, in the wooden version, because we did mention that there are 2 different versions of this that are currently on Kickstarter. But before we do, we just kind of wanted to show you the opposite side of the board. Ah!
There it goes. So this side of the board, smaller amount of hexes. The other side, which is the longer game, has even more hexes. And there's more chits for everyone to have, so that way you can play longer.
Yeah, much longer.
So this is more recommended for the 3-4 player game. If you just want to get a quick in and out kind of game with 2 people, it's a perfect side right here.
Yeah. It's really neat because there's not a whole lot of components. In the standard version of the game, it's a very small box.
Yeah.
So it's really easy if you want to bring it around as like a travel game.
Yeah, toss it in a bag.
Really, really easy one to teach to your family, anybody who likes abstracts. So like we were mentioning earlier, if you wanted something that has a little bit more table presence, there is a wooden version. It is really, really nice, actually.
Nice,
this is a nice, big, thick piece of wood. Maybe something, if you want to kind of leave it out on the table, you know, people like doing that with their games. Yeah, this is it still has both sides.
Yep.
The wooden version of the game also comes with these cloth bags for all the pieces, and all the pieces are also wood. So instead of like the cardboard markers, you have wooden pieces, and they're really nice. Same stones, but the markers are wooden. Those are the red ones. These are the green ones. So it's really, really, really nice quality.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there are the yellow ones. So there you go. So that's pretty much the whole game.
Thank you guys so much for watching our preview video of FILLIT. It's a nice little abstract strategy game. Very interesting. If you are interested in it, we're going to have all the details for the Kickstarter down below. So go ahead and check it out.
And also, if you just like abstract games or Japanese indie games, there are 2 other great abstracts that are part of that Kickstarter.
Yes.
So head on over there if this is right down your alley.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Bye.